If you're already coming to Florida, visit family, go to Disney, World, SeaWorld, whatever it may be, should you bring a mountain bike? Well, it's not the worst idea. Despite being located just south of the American South, Florida is exempt from being described as southern. Instead, Sunshine State is completely its own thing, a place where somehow marijuana is illegal, yet everything else flows freely. Florida is home to a very sweaty 22 million residents, and it's larger than countries like Greece or Portugal. But let's get to the more important stuff. Can you mountain bike in Florida? Many of you know that yes, you can ride a mountain bike in Florida. But let's be real, should you? While only you can answer that question, I thought it'd be fun to do a little review on the mountain biking scene in Florida. Well, in full disclosure, we really just planned a trip to see some family and to swim with dolphins. But as you do, I had to bring my bike. I've ridden down in Florida twice before, once in 2018, then again in 2019. Any trips since then were without large awkward luggage, aka a bike.
Nice, Jeff.
We found a direct flight from SeaTac to Orlando, and round-trip airfare was well under $400. For best results, I wore a blue button-up shirt covered in retired flamingos.
Here we are, Orlando. Gonna go try to snorkel with some dolphins tomorrow, and then try to squeeze in some mountain biking.
The real reason for the trip, beyond visiting family, was to experience a theme park owned by SeaWorld called Discovery Cove. The two main draws for this were swimming with dolphins and an easy-peasy snorkeling experience for my 8-year-old daughter. You might know me as a mountain biker, and that's very much true. However, I also got really stoked on snorkeling last winter. Logan and I went on a tropical trip, and we just walked into a mall and bought a snorkel mask. We then proceeded to randomly pull over to the side of the road and waded haphazardly into the ocean. And right there were fish and coral everywhere. It was amazing. I spent almost every morning of that trip underwater, just absolutely amazed at that ocean life. The low barrier to entry was especially cool. Let me know in the comments, have any of you been surprised at how cool snorkeling is? Got any suggestions or good spots for me? Fresh or saltwater, I'm not picky. Since my snorkeling awakening, I've spent many an evening in the water here in Puget Sound, even dragging my daughter snorkeling at least a half dozen times. We've seen some cool fish and have had some adventures, but let's be real. Snorkeling in an ice bath with visibility akin to truck stop coffee isn't perhaps the pinnacle of life experiences. I grabbed my favorite polo and we headed on down to hopefully show my daughter what it's like to snorkel with enough visibility to see even your feet. Snorkeling while petting stingrays and chasing fish was indeed a highlight for all of us. While the experience is not as organic as haphazardly pulling up to an empty beach and stumbling into that ocean, at least now my daughter has seen some fairly epic underwater life. But let's get on to the important thing, the mountain biking. There are two very well-known spots in Florida, Alafaya State Park down by Tampa and the Santos trailhead up near Okala. The two spots are just over 2 hours apart. For the first day of riding, I warmed up with a polo shirt in the color of raw chicken and hit the road.
Good morning from the villages. I have just put my bike together, aired up the tires. If you've traveled before, you know the drill. Evok bag, putting your bike together. Hoping Alafaya. I really liked Alafaya. I thought it had cool natural features. It's a lot further than Santos, but haven't been there in 6 years, so I'd love to make it back.
My review of Florida driving is that it's entertaining. You've got the blue hairs cruising at 45 in the 70 zones, and then you've got the hallucinating paranoid folks going twice that. Turn signals are encouraged yet optional, and lanes are merely suggestions. As you pull into Alafaya Park and pay your $5 entry, you then drive past a campground and find your way to the trailhead.
It's a balmy 88 degrees here.
The trailhead is quite swanky, with tables, a sink, bike wash, and even a full-service bike shop. The amenities are really nice, though I wouldn't mind if they installed air conditioning. Perhaps showers would be sweet, too.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, I know it's been like 6 or 7 years altogether, something like that.
Cool, congrats. Sweet.
The Alafaya Trail crew posts consistently on Instagram about trail updates, and thankfully, this crew had done a ton of work to get the trails rideable after the recent Hurricane Milton.
Well, what I remember.
Big props to that crew, and as a thank you, I've donated $100 to them. If you'd like to be cool and support the trails, I've linked to both their donation page and their Instagram in the description below.
Oh, wish I could gap this. These trails just got hit pretty hard by the hurricane, and the local trail group definitely did a lot of work to get them reopened, so that's awesome. Huge thanks to them. I'll link to their Instagram down below. I checked down there to see if the trails were going to be open, and they are.
Alafaya State Park is home to about 20 miles of trail built upon old phosphate mines. I have ridden these trails before, so I did know that it's important to appreciate them for what they are.
One thing I'll often do in hot, sweaty environments I'm traveling, I'll bring a full hydration pack, and then I'll bring some electrolyte supplements. And what I do is I use the hydration pack for most of my water carrying, but then I'll put the electrolyte supplement into my water bottle to make all that water be more effective. As you're sweating a ton, your body is of course getting dehydrated, but you reach the point where if you drink more water, it won't give you a ton of benefit. Without having proper electrolytes, your body can't absorb all that water effectively. Simple little supplement makes a big difference. I've been lucky enough to partner with the fine folk over at Element, spelled LMNT, and they make a very simple supplement: sodium, potassium, magnesium, a tiny bit of stevia, a very simple mixture, and it's quite good. For a limited time now, anyone that uses the link in my description below, it's drinkelement, LMNT.com/Jeff, Jeff. Anyone who uses that link will get a free sample pack with any purchase you make from the Element website. Today I'm drinking the orange salt, and it's one of my favorites. Big thanks to Element for their support. And I'll see you guys down in the comments, because if you can share a little story about if you like Element or not, that would help out a ton. Stay salty, everyone. That's good. You guys having fun?
Exhausted, out of shape. I haven't ridden in years.
Oh yeah? Welcome back.
Before COVID.
Oh, cool.
I guess right at COVID, I tore my ACL, sold off the bikes. And
Oh, the memo was to start biking during COVID and then quit right now and try to sell your bike for no money. That's what's going on outside.
that's a nice bike.
Thanks.
So what were you set up for? What were you?
I was going up this hill right here on the left. Yeah. Ooh. And you can cruise down. That thing. I'm gonna carry on. I'll see you guys down the way a little bit. Have fun.
To ride Alafaya, you'll find that you've got to be pedaling about 90% of the time, with the other 10% of the time dedicated to sweating and perhaps catching your breath.
Oh, I need to come in faster to jump that. So better wall ride that. I'm not gonna spine ride that. Man, last week I was doing a ride on the North Shore, getting poured rain on me. It's like 40 degrees. Today it's 90 degrees and I'm raining on the trail.
The trails are built with some intentionality about maintaining speed, and plenty of woodwork is used in the form of both berms and bridges to cross those alligator-infested swamps.
Oh, that's a neat jump.
I was hoping to get footage of the gators, but all I found was this cool turtle. Hello, turtle friend. Many of the trails seem directional. I can't remember, but I was visiting on a weekday and the park wasn't crowded. As you do, I had to stop and just play around a bit. I remember hitting this drop with Jeff Lenoski back in the day. I still don't think I can go up that one, but I did have fun going up some other stuff.
I wonder if there's a way to get from up here to down there. Kind of.
You're from YouTube, right?
Yes, my name's Jeff.
Yeah, dude, I watch you all the time.
Cool, what's your name?
Brandon.
Nice to meet you, Brandon.
Yeah, you too.
What is that bright beetle thing?
That is something you don't want to get stung by.
No, just about everything in Florida I feel like is Australian by nature and will kill you.
That might actually be the first one I've ever seen. I'm pretty sure they call that a cow killer or something.
A cow killer? That's friendly.
It's a type of wasp. It's supposed to be pretty painful.
Let's film it. Well, I'm not going to poke it with a stick, but wow. This thing is a little higher than I thought it would be. Yeah, it's overhead height. Sweet. You gotta turn, jump down, and then not mess up. Wow, that's the gear. A little more, roll down and bunny hop. All right, you ready?
I noticed someone had carved in this drop line from a ridge, shortcutting the trail by including a good 6-foot drop or so. It's not a crazy move, but I did have to summon my inner influencer to really want to send it. I also met Brandon, who shot the video, and I proceeded to ride with him for a few minutes. I decided to bring this Ibis Ripley V5 that I have on loan from my friends over at Ibis Cycles. I rode a Ripley here 6 years ago, and it felt very appropriate. While I much prefer the new V5 over the prior generations, for Alafaya, the new Ripley was often a little more bike than I really needed. The new one worked, but my double-down max grip casing tires were absolutely overkill. And clipless pedals would have been much better, as you need to be constantly pedaling through all sorts of terrain just to keep up that momentum.
Oh, this is cool.
There is a new jump line, which I hit a few times, and it's a great beginner intermediate run. I had seen photos of a kid jumping over a swamp and absolutely wanted to be that guy, fully ready to lose a hand to a gator guy should I not pull it off.
Damn alligator bit my hand off.
Oh my god.
How's it going?
Good. You got moss in your tank.
Oh, really? That's kind of cool. That's so Florida. I love it. I saw a picture of a jump over like a swamp. Is that here?
Yeah, it is.
Whereabouts is that?
Yeah, it's just like right here. Try it.
That's all right.
This fellow showed me the jump and it looked very approachable.
Yeah, I don't need to die today. But it did look cool on the internet all those years ago. Oh, cool. This thing's sweet.
Swamp gas fire over here.
Oh, it's super dilapidated. Oh, this is way more approachable than I thought it would be though.
It's very approachable, yeah.
Like I thought it would be pedal your pecker off straight at some gnarly kicker. Yeah, but the fact that you can judge your speed with some setup jumps,
Yeah.
that's pretty sweet.
And this isn't that big of a jump. It's only like 25 feet.
Yeah, it seems like attainable.
If you do vol, it's not that bad. It's not the end of the world.
I don't see any alligators right here.
The jump line was super fun though. The dirt in many places in Alafaya was actually crushed up seashells.
One thing that's kind of cool, the dirt here, it's not regular dirt, nor is it just sand. Look at how many beach shells are mixed into the soil. Now look, I'm just pulling a shell out of the sand. There's so many of these. Here's another shell. I think that one's still got a crab inside of it. Dirt crab. Look at this, there's shells all over the place. So I don't know why there's so many shells. If you're a trail builder here in Central Florida, maybe you can comment down below why there's so many shells mixed in with the sand. Did you guys go to the beach with a front end loader and grab dirt, bring it over here to build your trails? I wouldn't think there would be dirt at the beach. I think that would be sand, but this pack's kind of like real dirt. I do really like this place. It's cool for what it is. Would I fly across the country just to ride here? No, and I don't think anyone would. But if you're in the area, bring a bike, have some fun. Ooh, look at that swamp. God, I want to see a gator on my terms.
Alafaya felt unique because it's simply so southern. The swamps, the moss, the need to constantly build and lose momentum, cornering on sand and shells. It's a cool zone.
Alafaya, it's been fun. I should get back on the road. Let's check out Santos tomorrow. A lot of driving between here and there.
Compared to an epic alpine death march, it's admittedly a little bit boring, hitting such similar trails over and over again. While there is subtle variety, you'll nearly always be on the same sandy hamster wheel, working to maintain momentum at all times. The random obstacles are the highlights, but to send them results in a loss of speed and requiring yet more pedal work. I'd love to ride these trails on a hardtail next time, and I don't want to get too down on this place. It's important to remember to appreciate it for what it is. The campground looks fun. I could certainly see it being a good time, bringing the family out for a long weekend, riding right from camp, and meeting all the local caterpillars. When it was time to head north to Okala, I rocked a Miami Dolphins flavored polo tucked into my khaki shorts. The terrain up near Okala is quite a bit more hilly than down by Orlando or Tampa. I was hopeful.
Is it even a bike ride without a wheelie? First wheelie of the day, how are we feeling? Hello everyone, day 2 in Florida, at least with bikes, and we're here at the Santos trailhead. These trails are really fun. I've ridden here twice now. One time, my daughter's mama fell on a wet, greasy bridge and broke her arm. Oh, that was not ideal. I have not been back since the arm break. So we're gonna try to stay safe today. Luckily it's not raining, and yeah, pop around a little bit.
It was time to ride the Vortex. Located close to Okala, the Vortex is again an old phosphate mine. Back in 2018, it was fun sessioning this zone. We played around on jump lines and did some silly trials moves all over the park. There is substantially more woodwork at Vortex, much of it in the form of jumps and option lines, and not really so much for necessity's sake. As I rolled up into the park, I got distracted by a few interesting rock features. Alafaya had nothing like this.
Ooh.
The swooping corners and subtly more open terrain of the Vortex means higher average trail speeds. However, while the terrain is more sloped, it's not as topographically interesting as Alafaya. Upon making it to the center of the vortex, the larger red clay dirt jump line was actually open. This line was closed on all prior trips. I met Jack and Jaden.
Jack, I'm Jeff. Nice to meet you. Jaden, Jeff, nice to meet you.
Jack was introducing Jaden to riding, and Jack was absolutely shredding on his XC race bike. It took me a while to figure it out, but thanks to Jack's encouragement, I decided that I should finally figure out these dirt jumps. To get a feel for the first one, I hit the left tip option a couple of times. And man, that red dirt rolled nicer than a black Cadillac, and the jumps looked just as good. Finally, I mustered up my courage and hit that first red clay jump. It was great.
Oh, pump. Oh.
Bit by bit, I worked my way through, adding one more jump after a few runs. Even though these aren't exactly crabapple hits, I've spent too many plane trips with people who have freshly broken bones and did not want to deal with those, what are they called? Oh yeah, consequences. Eventually, I made it through the jump line a few times. It was fun. It was always nerve-wracking to hit a jump line without following someone through, especially when you're likely not on the right kind of bike that the builders intended the jumps to be ridden with. Let me know down in the comments, when was the last time you had to get yourself through some jumps and weren't totally sure on the speed? Pedaling back home for dinner, it felt great to have got tires into the sand and clay, even if I spent half my time riding, trying to just get through a simple jump line. The vortex is fun, and the feeling of conquering some fun jumps is a great one. I love dirt jumping, and the feeling you get nosing into a steep landing and pumping hard to get to the next jump, it's really cool. But while that's awesome, it also lacks the exploration aspect that, at the end of the day, makes mountain biking such a cool sport. Would my last day fulfill the need for a bit more of a journey? The next day, I headed out to ride the other side of the vortex zone, the Santos trailhead. Last night I came down here and rode the dirt jumps and some of the upper bits of the park. Today I want to go ride some more of the single black diamond and maybe even some of the blue cross-country trails. From my experience here on YouTube, most of you would much rather watch and learn about trails than yet another video about jumps. I feel the same way. I love doing jumps, a lot of fun for me. For all of you, probably more fun on the trails. I'm also a sucker for a good bit of an adventure, and going out on the trails, you're always going to have more of an adventure than just hitting jumps in a circle, kind of like a guinea on his guinea pig wheel. The Santos side was yet different still. Santos has gentle sloping hills, but utilizes many natural rocks into the trail layouts. The forest is fairly full, but the open canopy is so different than the thick jungle of Alafaya. Random hills made for fun challenges. Pedal up, bomb down, try to clear a jump. The dirt was actual dirt with fewer sand sections, and the terrain was pleasantly diverse.
No unauthorized trail work.
Living in the Pacific Northwest, I tend to take it for granted that trails will be built with elevation. The most memorable part of the ride is usually the ripping descent, but truth be told, the satisfaction of having suffered up a few thousand feet of vertical is also part of the game. Sure, I've ridden plenty of places with casual rolling terrain, and those rides are often fun. But if I have to have an opinion here, it's that mountain biking is generally best enjoyed in places with, well, mountains. But I do feel there is absolutely some validity in experiencing what the builders have made in a place like Florida. Yes, it's a different experience, and that's absolutely cool. For many folks, this is completely a paradise, and I'm so glad I got to experience it without any trips to the emergency room. So how do you feel about these spots? Have you been? Did I miss the boat by not riding Bombay yet? And finally, was I too overbiked? Would something like a cyclocross bike or a rigid bike be more fitting? All right then, I'll see you all down in the comments. Be sure to hit the subscribe button, and remember, peace and wheelies.
I didn't even know this hill was here. This is totally the best part of this park.